Hey, everybody. How is it going? Man, we got this week and next week, and October is over. Is that right? I think that's right. That's close to right. But, man, feels good. Getting cold at night around here. Almost waking up and the house is like chilly. You almost want to turn on the furnace to kind of knock the chill out of the air. I think we've done it once, maybe twice since the fall's hit. But I won't ramble too long. Hey, Matt, cleaning the kitchen. That's wonderful, son. That is wonderful. I'm glad you are. I'm sorry I haven't got the post up for last week's, everybody's drawings that you submitted. I will get it done. It's just, I say this, but I really mean it. Work has been bananas. So, but I really, really do appreciate it. So glad everybody's here. If this is your first time being live with us on YouTube, this is live recording. Here in a second, I'll mute the mic for get a drink, and then I'll start all over, and that will be the official recording of the podcast. But Dwayne, Mikey, Matthew, Ken, Ben, guys, thanks so much for being here. If I missed you, I don't think I missed anybody yet. We'll have a few people come in here in a second. I really, really appreciate it. Yeah, the Bay Area is not that chilly yet. Well, I'm sure it's coming very, very soon. So let me mute it, and get a drink, and we'll start with the episode. Well, hello, everybody. Thanks for joining me here on Christmas Clatter. It's wonderful to have you. I'd like to thank those that are hopping in the chat right now as we are live on YouTube recording this, including Edna and Florence for being here. It's really great to see everybody. It's really great to have you out there in the podcast world listening to this episode. Have a wonderful episode. It's something I did a couple years ago. But more on that later. Just a few house cleaning things. Man, October is almost over. We got next week's October, and then November after that, something like that. I haven't, days are kind of getting away from me, but I know we're close. And feels like Christmas is in full effect. I was made aware that Little Debbie's Christmas trees cakes are in stores, so that's Christmas season is officially here. And it's so good to see those. I haven't got any yet, but I will soon. Ken had to call me the other day and tell me that was the case. And of course, he bought a whole bunch of them. I think he said he bought 25 boxes of them, and had 24 gone before he got home. I think that's what he said. It was noisy on the phone, so that might be inaccurate. But anyway, it's good to have everybody here. The Christmas Puzzle Exchange signups are still open. There'll be a link in the description below on the show notes for the podcast. If you want to join, just click that link, fill out the form, and you'll be entered in, and you'll be able to send a new Christmas or winter themed puzzle to someone in the U.S. Sorry for shipping delays. It has to be U.S. only. Sorry about that, guys. And 500 to plus pieces, you can make it as many as you want, and send them a nice Christmas card as well. Signups actually close for the Puzzle Exchange on Friday, and then I'll be sending an email out to everybody. Hopefully Sunday. That's my goal. Sunday. If not, it won't be long after that, with the name and address of who you're mailing to, and then more information after that. But I like puzzles to be out by November the 1st. Now, one news thing I want to touch on. Normally, later in the year, since I work for the Postal Service, I try to give a date on when you should have your things mailed out for Christmas. But this year, with the UPS guy that runs basically the same mail route I do, same territories, and the FedEx guy that does the same thing, we were talking at an apartment complex. We kind of converged there at the same time by coincidence one day. And to be honest with you, if you have anything you want to order or anything you want to mail out for Christmas, just go ahead and do it now. Everybody's really overwhelmed and everybody's really understaffed, and it's going to be a big year for that kind of thing. And I'm not complaining. To be too busy at work is better than not being busy enough. But if you're just dead set on getting something or getting something out, don't wait and try to plan it to right at the holiday season. Just go ahead and get it out and put a "do not open till Christmas" tag on it, and let it be that. But yeah, it's just I'm over 18 years in at the Postal Service, and I've just never seen it like this. And I don't know what to tell you besides act quickly and act as quick as you can, and don't put it off. Because if you're trying to mail something out a week before Christmas, good luck, so just take that to heart and do with it what you will. Also, I need to talk about our friends over at justtherecipe.com. The holiday season's coming up. If you like, finding those recipes online, but you're tired of all the clutter and all the mess, check out justtherecipe.com. You can copy the URL, take it to their app. They eliminate all the mess and all the clutter, and just give you the ingredients and the instructions. And that's all you have to do. They have a free version with some limitations. They also have a premium versions, which allows you to kind of divide up your recipes into groups. So it allows you to add or take away ingredients. So it allows you to adjust the amounts. If something needs more butter, which it usually does, you can add that, or if you need to add a completely new ingredient, you can do that as well. It also lets you do conversions from metric or to imperial, and the premium also has unlimited recipes you can save. Annual subscription to Just the Recipe is $20, $19.99 for a whole year. So that's not a bad deal, but if you use the code Christmas Clatter 23, get 30% off that annual plan. So that knocks it down to, less than $15 for a whole year. It makes it a great way to share recipes, to keep them organized. You can put it on your iPad, on your laptop, on your phone. I mean, with those things, you can even screen them, to your 55 or 60-inch TV if you really need to see the instructions. So it's a great service with great people over there that I really enjoy. This is a service Holly and I have used for a year and a half before they became a partner here at Christmas Clatter. And we really, really enjoy what they have to offer. JustTheRecipe.com, Christmas Clatter 23 for 30% off annual plan. And thanks for those guys for being our partner here on Christmas Clatter. All right, let's get on with the episode and our guest who's been so patiently waiting in the green room. Scott Newman and I have done several episodes together over the years. And I remember after the first one we did, I think it was maybe a guest on Jingle Jank, or he was a guest. I don't remember the first time, but it was kind of one of those things. We just kind of clicked. We had a lot of the same interests, especially music and stuff. And he's been a good friend I made through podcasting. And this episode is something I did a few years ago. I made a list of artists that hadn't had a Christmas album that should have. And I did it like in June. And then later that year, one of my artists, Megan Trainor, released a Christmas album. So I will take credit for that she listened to Christmas Clatter and decided to make a Christmas album. So let's see if anybody on our list this year goes on to make a Christmas album this year or next. We'll see. We'll keep tabs and we'll see. And, let me know, let me and Scott know in the live chat here on YouTube, or go to the social medias on our posts, and let us know what artist that hasn't made a Christmas album you would like to hear one from. But without any further ado, here is Scott Newman. Hey, Scott, how's it going?
Hey, Todd, how are you?
I'm doing
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. I'm doing well. I'm doing well. I really appreciate you coming on to talk about this. This one was a little tougher than I thought it was going to be.
It was it
Yeah.
was tough. I asked my family for help. That was the
Hmm.
first place I stopped, and, they had some suggestions, and I did a couple searches and, then some soul searching, I guess, and,
Yeah.
I got 5. I got 5 that I think are pretty good.
Yeah. I got five. I really enjoy. There were a few that have gone on to make Christmas albums, and a few that I had on my list last time that I thought I really don't know if I really want to hear a Christmas album from them or not for
That's
whatever
funny.
reason. There was one I wanted to put on my list really bad, but he's 80 years old now, and I just didn't
Okay,
know.
well, the clock is running out, so
Yeah,
if he's gonna do it, who was
yeah,
it?
it was Randy Newman.
Okay.
I would really love to hear a Christmas album from him, but he's 80, and I would like Randy Newman at the height of his powers, you know, to
That's
do a
fair.
Christmas album. But man, you're a busy guy with Christmas morning, getting ready to rock and roll almost every day in December, and
And November this year too.
oh, in
We
November
normally
this year. Oh man,
we
you're good.
normally go daily as of Thanksgiving, but Brand said, "Hey, how about we do it on November 1st?"
Oh,
And for some reason I said, "That's a great idea." It's not
Brandon
seeming like a
is
great idea now that it's staring at me like 2 weeks from now, but it'll
yeah,
be fun.
yeah, Brandon is crazy ideas.
Yep.
So then you also co-host with Dwayne in the chat Tinsel Tunes, which is always fun podcast to listen to, and you're just a busy guy in the podcast world.
Yeah, Dwayne is great. I love
Yeah,
hosting with him. We have so much fun. We just did an episode. It'll come out. Well, I don't know when. These things don't edit themselves.
yeah, I understand that completely. So, man, let's get right into it. I'm gonna kick things off um, with my number 5 pick. We're gonna go from 5 to 1.
Okay.
And this might be an artist that people might not be that familiar with, Melody Gardot or Gardot. Um,
I
she
have
is a
never heard of this
yeah,
artist.
she is an American jazz singer with this beautiful alto voice. And first time I heard Michael Bublé, it was like I know he was going to make a Christmas album. When I first time I heard her, I'm like, she's going to make a Christmas album. 20 years later, she's got one
Still
Christmas
waiting.
song, and she's got one Christmas song, and it's like a live performance of Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas on like a TV show, and it's like, I was stunned, absolutely stunned. Cause I heard her, I get up early in the morning and I'll turn on like Pandora radio and different channels and stuff and play like a Sudoku cause I'm old. And she popped on, just playing through some stuff. And I was like, oh, I forgot about her. Does she have a Christmas album? No, no. And if you like Nora Jones and stuff like that,
Mhm.
check her out. She's really good. Really, really good.
I do like Nora Jones, Diana Krall,
Yeah.
obviously Ella Fitzgerald,
Hmm.
but you said her voice is alto, so it's
Yeah. She's
probably a little higher than all those artists?
no, a little lower than those
Oh,
guys.
okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
thinking the wrong direction.
Yeah. Yeah. She's a little lower than that. So, but, yeah, this is one that, like I said, probably most people never heard of her because being a jazz singer is just not what it used to be. But
Hmm.
definitely one I would like to hear. So that's Melody. I'm never been correct
I
if
would
it's
I'd
Gardot or
I'd say
Gardot.
Gardot. That's
Yeah,
what I would guess.
yeah,
I'll
that's
have to
what.
check her out.
Yeah, I think you'll dig her. I think you would. Everybody else, check her out. She's just got that smooth jazz vibe going on. So, Scott, your number 5 pick is definitely one I'm a big fan of. And that's
Yeah,
Weird Al.
this was one of the sillier picks. I don't wanna hear it because I think he makes beautiful music. He makes music that's enjoyable and it's
Mhm.
fun to share, and it always makes you smile, and
Yeah,
he outlasts most of the artists that he covers.
right.
And I just wanna hear what he would do with a Christmas album. I have no idea. I can't even imagine. I know they'd be silly and
Yeah.
they'd be parody.
Do you want him to do a parody or a straight up?
Well, I don't think anybody really wants to hear Weird Al straight up. If that were the case, he would have done that kind of stuff before. Now, I wouldn't be opposed if he
Right.
wanted to do it, but yeah, I want to hear a parody. And there's another reason why. Do you remember the artist? Oh gosh, now I'm blanking on the name. He did an album called I Am Santa Claus and
Mhm.
Twisted Christmas. Bob Rivers.
Yeah.
Do you remember Bob Rivers? Some of his stuff doesn't really hold up to modern sensibilities anymore, and a
Uh-huh.
lot of his references are now, not really socially acceptable. So when you listen, I always liked him. I bought his cassette tape when I was in high school, but you go back and listen to it now, and it's like, oof, yeah,
Yeah.
we can't say that anymore. And yeah, some of it's still kind of funny, but it's just not the same, and it takes something away from it. So I'd like to see a nice modern Christmas parody album come out.
Yeah. Well, maybe Weird Al could cover All I Want Is a Wookiee for Christmas, and then that could maybe push it into the essential Christmas music playlist. Maybe that's the way
Yeah,
that
maybe.
that song would get in there. That's especially for the Christmas aficionado in the chat who comments on all my videos. Where's a I Want a Wookiee for Christmas at? So, but
Is that off of the Star Wars album, or am
yeah,
I thinking of what do you get a Wookiee for Christmas? Who already has
something.
everything, has a comb. It's something
Yeah,
about a comb.
I don't even
Boy, it wasn't
remember.
very good. Yeah.
Yeah, some of that stuff I've had to go to therapy and get blocked,
Yeah, exactly.
from my memory. So,
I
but
should
yeah,
watch the Star Wars holiday special at some point here.
maybe you should, or maybe
Oh, I
you
know.
should.
I actually enjoy it quite a bit.
Okay,
It's so bad it's good kinda
yeah,
thing. It's not something you can watch alone, though. It's
yeah,
group watching. It's
yeah,
funny. I'd sit down and watch it with you.
yeah, yeah. Um, yeah. If you ever catch anybody watching the Star Wars Christmas special all by themselves, you need to call
Yeah,
and get them
exactly.
some
They
help.
need help. They definitely need help.
They need help, unless it's their first time watching it. Then they just don't know.
That's fair. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
well, if they're taking notes and
yeah,
they really got something wrong.
yeah,
But hey,
yeah.
be Arthur.
Oh, absolutely. All right, let's go on to my number 4, the Black Eyed Peas. I'm not
I'm
the
not that familiar with the Black Eyed Peas. I know of them,
yeah,
but if you said, if you asked me what they sang, I don't know. I'll ask my daughter, "Hey, Emma, what do they sing?"
yeah. Well, yeah, they have I Got a Feeling, which plays like at every corporate event ever in the world, and then Where Is the Love? I'm not the most monster Black Eyed Peas fan, but it's kind of the same reason you picked Weird Al as I picked these. Their music's just fun
Mm,
and it's kind of infectious. It's like kind of that infectious pop that's just fun and catchy and earwormy, and you can't help but to smile. So it's kind of like the Weird Al reasoning you had, but just for a little bit different reasons, and some great beats. I'd like to, my favorite song of theirs, which I really, really do love, is Where Is the Love, which came out pre 9/11 and it's still relevant today, lyrically. I'd love to hear a Christmas version of that. I think that would work very well. Kind of the same way like Michael Bublé had a Christmas version of Home. I think a Christmas version of Where the Love is would be really great.
I like the idea of a catchy, earwormy album,
Mhm.
mostly because it would help get other people on the Christmas music train. I don't need any help. I could
Yep.
listen to it year round. But the more stuff like that that's out there, the more, people get excited. And one of the common things that you hear from people is, "Oh, I don't wanna hear Mariah Carey again." Yeah, no, you
Yeah.
know what? Neither do I. But if there's something new, Kelly
Yeah.
Clarkson's album did a lot for that to
Hmm.
at least kinda shake the dust off of stuff and give somebody something new to listen to.
Right.
So, yeah, if the Black Eyed Peas did something, I would absolutely check it out.
Yeah. Yeah. I think so. I think it would be cool. They've been around forever, probably 30 years or more now. And it's kind of odd that I don't even know if they touched anything Christmas or
Hmm.
not, but let's go to your number 4, who's a much more classic pick and one I totally agree with, Sir Elton John.
This one, I struggled with this one a little bit because for a very long time, I didn't really like Step Into Christmas. I think, though, the reason that I didn't like Step Into Christmas was because in the 80s, my parents hated the song Step Into Christmas. And now it's kind of a certified classic at this point.
Yep.
You parrot a lot of the things that your parents say when you're young, and
Mhm.
they just thought it was awful and, blasphemy. What kind of Christmas music is this? Same with, Paul McCartney is some very similar with
Mhm.
his stuff with Wings. But now it's really grown on me.
Mhm.
And I like Step Into Christmas just fine. It's not my favorite song or anything. How about some new ones, Sir
Yeah.
Elton John?
Yeah.
He's got a wonderful voice,
Oh, yeah.
and he could do an amazing job with the classics. I don't want originals. I want to be real clear on that.
Mhm.
Step Into Christmas, okay, fine, you did it. You ticked that box. Nice
Mhm.
original song. Now can you give me I don't know. Maybe not Silent Night, maybe not a carol, but a Christmas song. I
Yeah.
think it would be really fun to listen to, and it's another one that would be really good for groups and parties and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Kind of, I'd really like to see him take Christmas song, and kind of turn it into, um, kind of a nice ballad like he can with, what is it? Your Song. And,
Yes, yeah.
something like that would be to end it. I'm not sure which Christmas song you could take to put in there. Maybe Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas would kind of, to end the album, and then he could easily do a lot of the Jingle Bell Rock, or, Rock Around the Christmas Tree kind of stuff with his flavor on it with the piano, kind of driving it. I could even see him do, a killer cover of like Last Christmas, or, you
Oh, that
know,
could be a lot of fun.
yeah, so he can do a
Yeah,
lot of things.
I don't wanna hear him sing Rudolph or Frosty,
Yeah.
but, any of the songs that are about how much fun this time of year is, I think
Yeah.
would be a good fit for him, and I'd love to hear it.
Yeah. And
He's a regular listener of your show, right?
yeah, absolutely. I get a note
Yeah.
from him all the
Yeah,
time.
cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I call him EJ for short,
Mm.
because
He calls you TK?
yeah, yeah. So that's what happened.
It's a
But
little thing you've
I
got, yeah.
when yeah, I could see an Elton John. He had that Christmas song released. Was it last year with Ed Sheeran?
Yeah,
And then so I could
and
see
that
him.
was really fun, and
Yeah.
he can still keep up with modern artists. He doesn't
Hmm.
feel old and dated. Remember when Tony Bennett did his duets album, and it kind of felt like, "Oof, boy, is he
Yeah.
old."
Yeah.
I don't know how old Elton John is, but he's pretty darn old, I know that.
Yeah. Yeah. That.
But
But
it still felt fresh.
yeah. Yeah, he could still keep up, and he could bring in several, kind of like Dolly did with um her last album, where she brought in so many guests. He could do the same thing. I'm sure if he could
Yeah.
call anybody he wants, and they'd show up. And
Yeah, exactly.
it'd be a lot of fun. Be a lot of fun. My next one, he appeared on a Kelly Clarkson Christmas album, on our newest one, on one of the songs, and he did a parody skit on Jimmy Kimmel of a Christmas album that he was supposed to have, which was just a joke, but it's one we really, really need. That's Chris Stapleton. I need this.
Okay, Chris Stapleton's one of those artists, I don't know anything by him.
Yeah.
I hear people talk about him,
Yeah.
and they speak of him with very positive things to say. Boy, I wouldn't know him if he stole my bike. I have no idea.
Yeah. I think the biggest one he knows is Tennessee Whiskey. It's not an original song of his. That song was written in like the early 80s, but he covered it and actually, made it popular. And it's a soulful blues country. Almost.
Would you call him a country artist?
He's more, yeah, he's more country. He's like a more country version of Bob Seger, if that makes sense.
Okay.
But his songwriting and his playing ability are spectacular, and his voice is so dynamic. I wouldn't say it's a big voice, like, hit all the notes. He probably could, but there's something. He's got this classic raspy storyteller kind of voice, and I mean, there's just so much emotion in it. I just would love to see Chris Stapleton tackle a Christmas album. He could do all the bluesy Christmas rock stuff. He did the national anthem at the Super Bowl this year,
Oh, okay.
and he had people in tears.
Hmm.
He had the coach of, I forget which team. One of the coaches of the teams was in tears on the sideline. So
I have friends that are not into country music whatsoever, but
Yeah.
they still say they like him. So I really should have checked it out ahead of time, but I didn't. Sorry.
that's okay. That's okay. I would call him country, but there's so much blues. In fact, he used to be in a bluegrass band, and which is a really good band too, even if you don't like bluegrass that much. But it's a real heavy blues infused kind of country. It's hard to put your finger on it, but I would
All
call
right,
it
stop
country.
selling. I'll listen. All right, it sounds
Yeah,
good.
listen. I'm not going to let you hang up, and when we get off here, we're just going to listen to all the songs.
That sounds good.
Now, speaking of guys with age on them, but still highly motivated and highly energetic, your pick for number 3, I laughed at it at first, but then I thought, that's not a bad idea. The Rolling Stones.
Oh, I love the Rolling. See, this is like Christmas for me. I can't remember what I submitted to you. Thank goodness you have these cards up here. I would love to hear an album by the Rolling Stones. I love them.
Yeah.
And we don't have a lot of time left with these guys.
Yeah, we don't. I think we need a Christmas version of Start Me Up.
That would be pretty good.
Or I would almost like for them to take all their songs and write them as Christmas versions, as silly as that sounds.
I think my favorite song by them is Wild Horses, and I don't know what Christmas song that style would fit with, but I want to hear something that's in that style. It's that long lyrical type thing. I don't know. I just want to hear it.
Yeah.
We already lost the drummer, I believe, last year.
Yeah.
So we don't have a lot of time left. I'm not holding out a lot of hope for this one.
I mean, we got plenty of time with Keith Richards, but
yeah, exactly. That guy's going to live to 150.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but yeah, I would really like to hear this. And of course, they're so great. They would kind of be in the same vein of covering the same songs that probably Chris Stapleton would be interested in covering. But I would really like to hear it because the energy is different, between them and Chris Stapleton. And, I would really like to hear it. They, years ago, they covered the Temptations' Too Proud to Beg and just knocked it out of the park. So I'd really like to see them do like a Baby Please Come Home kind of thing, or,
that would be great.
Yeah. So, anything like that would be wonderful.
I can't take credit for this pick. This was when I did a search online, I found some forum and I was like 7 pages deep when somebody said Rolling Stones. Like, one of the things that kept coming up over and over was Bruce Springsteen.
Yeah.
But I'm going to be honest with you. By this point, if I have to hear another cut of Santa Claus is Coming to Town by Bruce Springsteen, I'm going to throw up. I don't want to hear it ever again. I'm so sick of it. And it's not because it's bad. It's because it's overplayed. I must be fair. I respect him as an artist, but I don't want to hear that. And I think that kind of tainted just the idea of a whole album by Bruce Springsteen. But he would be, if you had to expand the list to 10, he probably would have been in there, just to be fair.
Yeah. I've never been a monster Bruce Springsteen fan.
Yeah. Santa Claus gonna bring you a new saxophone. No.
Yeah. I mean, I like to hear that song once or twice through the holidays, especially after Thanksgiving.
Once is good.
Yeah, but after that, I'm okay. I remember one time, of course, I always like watching concerts, and I'll watch concerts of people I don't like just to watch concerts on TV and stuff. And Bruce Springsteen was on, and Holly came walking through the living room, and he was up there making his faces, and she's like, someone needs to get him some milk of magnesia.
Yeah. I've seen Bruce Springsteen. I never saw the Rolling Stones, and I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah.
So that's a little unfortunate. But I would love to hear a Rolling Stones Christmas album. Someone in the chat said Wild Reindeer. I like that idea.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
I like that. My next pick is, I don't know if I should call her new. She's been around for a few years, but she came out with an album a couple years ago called Future Nostalgia that has been one of my favorite albums ever since it came out. And that's Dua Lipa. And she does this like retro 80s dance disco music that is just infectious, absolutely infectious. And she did Prisoner with Miley Cyrus, which is just a great pop song. She did a duet with Elton John, a Rocket Man duet where they kind of combined 2 or 3 songs together and did it. And the thing I like about her, she does all this dance music, but she uses live musicians. She had Chad Smith of the Red Hot Chili Peppers lay down drum tracks for the Future Nostalgia album and stuff, and just really need to hear an album from her. You know, it would be great. It would not be a sentimental album. It would just be a fun Christmas party album. Because I don't really know if I've ever heard her do a ballad, to be honest with you.
I'm not familiar with that much of her music. My daughter Emma likes her, and there's this kind of weird thing. You're wired as a dad to when your kids like music, you know, there's a bit of a wall that goes up, and like, wait a minute, oh, this is scary and new. I don't know. I'm seeing comments here that it's good, and you're telling me about live musicians, so I should probably be fair and check it out. Have an open mind.
Yeah, check out Future Nostalgia, the whole album from start to finish.
Yeah.
I think you dig it.
An honorable mention that's in this same idea. My daughter wanted Olivia Rodrigo to appear on my list, and that probably would have made it like past number 10. But another very, very modern artist.
Yeah, I see. My goal as a dad is a little different. My goal is to find the new hit artist and to know about them before my kids do. That really irritates them. You know,
well, yeah, irritating your kids is a life goal. I remember being young and saying, "Oh, I'm gonna wear all the latest fashions. I'm never gonna go old." And then you know, next thing you know, you've got a pair of gym shorts that's 25 years old and you're still wearing them. So
yeah,
it happens.
Understand. I understand.
Fatherhood happens.
See, my goal. My motto has been not to be the guy that thinks all good music stopped the year he graduated high school. You know?
Well, it did. I mean, let's be honest.
I mean, it did, but I'm not going to act like it.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, my wife put in there, she knew Dua Lipa was going to make the list. So let's go to your number 2, Scott. This is a guy I really like. He knows how to play bass a little bit and a few other, but Sir Paul McCartney.
Yeah, this guy's an up-and-coming artist.
Yeah, he might be able to do something.
He might make it, yeah. I've heard that Paul McCartney has a secret Christmas album for his family only. Have you heard this?
No, I haven't.
Before?
No.
Yeah, it's unsubstantiated because obviously he's not going to comment on it, but I've heard this multiple times. Maybe somebody in the chat can correct me if I've got it wrong, but that he recorded a Christmas album, but it's only for his family and it's never to be released.
Huh.
Jerk. That makes me want it more.
Yeah, I know. It's like one of the bands I wanted to put on here really bad was Huey Lewis and the News, but I thought
that would have been like my number 5, 6 or 7 maybe. Yeah, that would be a good one.
But with Huey's hearing problems and stuff, I just not sure if it was possible because we had to, we put a stipulation on there that had to be active and stuff.
Oh.
And
well, would you consider Paul McCartney active? The word active is doing a lot of heavy lifting.
Well, I mean, he could still play and sing. I've seen him do it recently.
Yeah,
okay. But with Huey's hearing problem, I don't think he's able to do that anymore. And they had one Christmas song released to their fan club in like the 80s, and that's the only way he ever got it. And but yeah, if he's got the solo Christmas album for his family, I mean, come on, man.
I don't know who else could be on it. For all I know, there are other former Beatles that are on there. Now, Paul McCartney, he's got what's the song? What's that song that's on the very critical list? People, you either love it or you hate it.
Yeah, the Simply Having a Wonderful Christmas Time.
Yeah, Wonderful Christmas Time. That's another one. I never didn't like it in the 80s,
Mhm.
but it's grown on me quite a bit, and I
Yeah.
actually like it. I don't know that I would put it front and center on a playlist, but it would make the back half at least,
Yeah.
and he's got a wonderful voice. I wanna hear it. Now, I remember, d my co-host Dwayne did an episode. Was it I think it was Ringo Starr had a Christmas song, and it was not good.
Mhm.
So, Paul, we don't need to have Ringo on this. You can just do it by yourself. It's totally fine.
Only if Ringo's drumming, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. But don't let him near a microphone, please.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Have Wonderful Christmas Time is one of those that I have oscillated on. There's been times I've hated it. There's been times it's like I have to listen to this song. There's times I've been indifferent, and it's just one I just always oscillated on. If you
Yeah,
like the song,
it's really repetitive. It's not
hmm
much of a song
hmm
lyrically,
right,
but I don't know. It's one of those ones. I'm gonna parrot what you said. It's kind of not Christmas until I hear it at least once.
right. I agree with that, especially in a store. If you hear it in a
Yeah.
store, it's better for some reason. Something about
Yeah,
those
there's
store
something about
speakers.
hearing songs in the wild that's very different than
Mhm.
when I go and intentionally listen to something. I'm
Yeah,
a lot more open and receptive to music. I don't know why it seems to be in Walmart that I notice these things. I don't know why that is. Maybe their music's just a little louder, but I was there last year, maybe the year before, and I heard Christmas in Hollis play over
hmm
the PA at Walmart, and my first reaction was like, "Oh, you can't play this." And then I realized the song's 30 years old, dude. Yeah, it's a certified classic at this point,
yeah,
and there is nothing wrong with this song.
yeah,
Again, going back, maybe in 1987 when it was released, it was a little bit controversial because it wasn't of the style, it wasn't common Christmas music
yeah,
style back then. But now I love that song,
yeah.
and once I kind of got over my initial reaction, I was like, "Oh, this is really great. This is
Mhm.
really fun to hear this." And if you want to have a good time, go watch the video
Oh yeah,
for Christmas in Hollis. That is,
yeah,
it's so awful. It's great.
yeah, yeah. I agree with you wholeheartedly there. And for people that maybe want to give the song "Wonderful Christmas Time" a second chance, friend of Christmas Clatter, Luke McMaster, on his Christmas album "Christmas Present" has a cover of it, and I think I like his cover of it better than Paul's version. And that's not
I
just because
love it
he,
when that happens.
yeah,
I love,
that's
it's like the student has become the master kind of thing.
yeah,
I just love that. We do Christmas music battles on Christmas morning, and we did Wonderful Christmas Time at some point, and boy, there are a lot of versions on Bandcamp.
yeah,
But they're not all great, I'll tell you that. But part of the fun is hunting through it. It's kind of like being at a flea market. You're going to find trash and treasure at the same time.
yeah, yeah. But Paul McCartney would definitely make a wonderful Christmas album because he can just pull it. He can do all the party Christmas songs, and then he could pull it down
He
and
could
pull
do
off some
anything. Yeah,
carols.
any
You know,
song he wants to do, he could do. Silent Night, I'd
yeah,
still love to hear it, you know?
yeah. I would. That's what I was getting ready to say. I'd love to hear him solo on the piano doing Silent Night, and that's it.
Oh, that would be great.
Yeah, and I think that would be just a killer version. That song needs a revival anyway. It's one of the oldest Christmas carol songs out there, and to me it feels like it's slipping away. But maybe that's just my opinion. But all right, we have reached our 2 number ones already,
I actually
and
remember my number one. This is exciting.
yeah,
I
well,
must be taking my Prevagen or something. I can remember. But do yours first.
all righty. My number one, Bruno Mars, and I want Bruno Mars so bad to make a Christmas album because Scott, I know you know this well. I am a Motown fan.
Yes, you
And I
are.
love it. And Bruno Mars always has a heavy Motown influence into his music. And I would love
Huh.
him to bring back a modern version of like a Motown Christmas. I would you know, just take that Motown sound, sprinkle in some of the modern, and do what he does to music, and it would be so much fun to hear. I would just love to hear him tackle a couple of Stevie Wonder songs.
Mm.
and
Yeah,
tackle
Someday at
maybe a
Christmas.
Jackson 5 song, tackle This Christmas, all that stuff. And because he's just so good at taking that Motown, the bones of Motown, and bringing it into the modern day. So that's why I really, really want a Bruno Mars Christmas album.
So you would just pull up Spotify, put it on repeat, lock the phone in a drawer, and feed the key to the dog or something. Just keep it going. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not that familiar with Bruno Mars. Obviously, I know Uptown Funk because I don't live in a cave.
Right.
And I love it. I think it's wonderful. I need to check out. I have a lot of homework from this show today. I have a lot of things to listen to. But if you're telling me that he's got this Motown inspired sound, I always just considered him to be some sort of modern artist. So I just kind of wrote it off. But now I need to go back and check it out.
Yeah. And he also took his name from Bruno Sammartino, the wrestler from the 60s and 70s. But that's beside the point. Another thing he does, you can find it on YouTube. Of course, he plays with live music. He's not one of the pop artists that just gets in there with the machines. I think it's a concert in Brazil. He sings Michael Jackson's Billie Jean over his band playing Smells Like Teen Spirit by Nirvana. And it fits like a glove. Wow. It is wild.
That's so weird.
It is so good to watch. It is crazy. But he's really got a kind of innovative in that way of putting things together, so yeah.
Well, I wouldn't have guessed that. I think you're dragging me kicking and screaming into the modern era here. My family is going to be thrilled.
I told you I try to get a hold of people before my kids. See, even Dwayne agrees with. I don't mind Bruno Mars style. It's different than regular pop stuff. That's from Dwayne Bailey of Tinsel Tunes. Thanks, Dwayne, for.
Well, we can all agree that modern pop stuff is hot garbage. So sure, that sounds great.
I heard a Travis Scott song the other day. I have no idea. I have no idea why he's so popular.
Yeah. What is happening? That's what happens when I turn on the modern stuff on Sirius in the car. Like what in the world just happened here?
It's like some Casio keyboard beat and thickest auto-tune I've ever heard in my life. And it's like, I don't get it. Why were there 1 million people even at his concert to be ran over by all the other 1 million people? I don't even have a clue. It's like, is it? But Bruno Mars, man, he's a classic. He's a classic. He's a smart guy too. He changed, Bruno Mars isn't his real name. And he ended up having to use Bruno Mars because his real name's Peter. I want to say Peter Sanchez or Peter Fernandez, I believe is his real name. Peter Fernandez. And so when he was getting signed, everybody wanted to be him to be like the next Enrique Iglesias and stuff, And he's like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. So he ended up, his dad was a big wrestling fan. His favorite wrestler, Bruno Sammartino. So he took that name, and then I don't remember how he chose Mars. But then he started going by that. Then that way, when he talked to record companies, they weren't like, you're going to be the next,
typecast. Yeah.
Typecast, so. Yeah.
So I'm guessing, so do you want to hear him do Feliz Navidad, or do you want him to stay away from that on this to be released Christmas album that you're hoping for?
As long as he covers all the Motown songs that I want him to.
Okay.
Actually, I really don't mind because, he can probably pull it off,
Yeah, the Temptations Christmas album though, that I don't need a lot of competition for that. I'm perfectly happy with that. I could just keep listening to it until the day I drop dead.
Yeah, that's such a good one.
Yeah.
That's one I got to find on vinyl. That's for sure. But my number one, Bruno Mars. And last but definitely not least is Scott's number one. And this is absolutely one that I'm astonished hasn't been done yet.
Yeah, me too.
That's the Piano Man. Billy Joel.
Man, wouldn't that be something? I just want to hear it. It's solo too. I just want to hear him on his piano. just give me 13 tracks or 14 tracks
Yeah.
or of whatever you want to sing. The guy could sing the phone book and I'd be thrilled with it.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm shocked it hasn't happened yet. You
He
know.
does have a Christmas single, and I wasn't aware of that until I did the because I had to
Mhm.
do my due diligence here and say,
Right.
like, "Does Billy Joel have a Christmas album?" in the Google machine, and it said, "Oh, he's got a single." Okay, well, that's news to me. It must I'm surprised that it passed me by and I wasn't aware of it at all, but okay.
Yeah. I wasn't 100% sure about that, but it must not be that great.
No, it must not be. There's gotta be
Yeah.
a reason that we haven't heard it. I don't know
Mhm.
what songs I want Billy Joel to sing, though. I'm not sure that it's carols. Now, I wouldn't be offended if that's what he wanted to do. Mr. Joel, you can do whatever you like.
Uh-huh.
But I don't know, I wanna hear Winter Wonderland and, songs like that
Yeah.
where it's just about the fun of the season and allow him to do that stretching that he can do with his voice. He's got a
Mhm.
wonderful range that I just love,
Yeah.
and I just think it'd be great, and, obviously, the guy can play piano. I don't know if you're aware of this, but he's a
Oh
pretty
yeah.
good piano player.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, just do it like that. Of course, I'd be fine if he wanted to bring a whole band in.
Mhm.
No problem there, I
Yeah.
think the old Uptown Girl days,
Yeah.
that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, kind of
But it's
reminiscent.
also a very different. He's one of those artists that the different phases of his career seem very different. I'm sure at this
Mhm.
point, he just, sits in his trailer and counts his millions.
Yeah.
I don't think he's writing a lot of new music, but, um, yeah, I want a little sprinkle of the old Billy Joel that I remember from being in my mom's car in the '80s, that
Yeah.
we listen to Billy Joel on repeat, and,
Yeah.
that was one of the few things, because I didn't wanna listen to the albums like Bread and stuff, so "Can we listen to Billy Joel, please, for the love of God?"
Yeah.
And, that's what we did.
Yeah, I could see him doing like a stripped down, like piano bar style
Mhm.
album, or even like a more of a big band, you know, album
Both of
as
them would
well.
be great.
Yeah.
You know, there was another artist that I would really wanted her to do a Christmas album, and then she did a Christmas album, and I wasn't satisfied with it, and that's Norah Jones.
Yeah.
Now, don't you can cancel your email you're composing to me about how much of an idiot I am. It's just not what I was looking for. It's fine, and I believe she did it during the pandemic on
Uh-huh.
her own, and
Yeah.
it feels it has a real raw quality to it. But I want that real piano bar feel.
Mhm.
So maybe Norah Jones and Billy Joel can get together. I'd be perfectly
Yeah.
satisfied if both of them wanted to, if they want to do a duet there. That would be great too.
Yeah. I get that. I like Norah Jones. Her Christmas album fell flat for me. It's like, this
Yeah,
isn't the
it
Norah
is it
Jones I
is
want.
pretty good, and,
It is.
after I got over the initial disappointment of it because it wasn't what I was looking for,
Mhm.
I've gone back and listened to it, and I'm like, "Yeah, this is pretty good,"
Mhm.
but it's not exactly what I wanted, and I know she's hyper tuned into what Scott Newman is looking for, so, it
Well,
was
yeah,
just a bit of a miss.
I'm sure she asks herself that every day. What's
Mhm,
Scott Newman
mhm.
looking for? So, yeah. You talked about the Uptown Girl, Billy Joel. That's a great illustration to go back to Bruno Mars, because what Billy Joel did with like the '50s music and
Mhm.
Uptown Girl, bringing that '50s kind of doo wop
Doo-wop, yeah.
into the modern age when he was releasing that stuff, is kind of the same thing Bruno's doing with the Motown stuff.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
Well, now you got me really interested.
yeah. So, but that's a good parallel between those two that I
Yeah,
didn't think
it
about.
was a light callback without being too heavy-handed, and if that's
Right.
what you're saying that Bruno Mars does
Yeah.
with a Motown, kinda quasi style,
Yeah.
yeah, I'd like to check that out.
Yeah. Yeah. But Billy Joel, yeah, he could do. I would even like to hear. I would even like to hear his original Christmas ballad that he would write.
If he
If
wanted to do it original, I would be okay with that. For the most part, I'm not huge on original Christmas music.
Mhm.
I get more enjoyment hearing how an artist makes an existing song their own and personal touches they add to it. I think that's the fun of hearing the same, 40, 50 songs over, in different cover versions at Christmas. That's what I really like about Christmas music.
Mhm.
But I'd be down for listening to, he, as long he can sprinkle a few. How about that on the
Yeah.
album? 3 or
Yeah.
4, but give me 10 solid covers at the same time, please,
Yeah.
Mr. Joel.
Yeah.
Well,
On our
I
list.
call him Billy. He calls me
Yeah.
Scotty. It's a thing.
Yeah. I of our list, Billy Joel and Chris Stapleton are the only two that I would like to try their hand at an original Christmas album. Everybody else, they can wait till later.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, but I'm just gonna run through the list real quick for everybody. I had a jazz singer Melody Gardot as my number 5. Scott's number 5 was Weird Al. My number 4 was the Black Eyed Peas, where Scott picked Elton John for his. My number 3 was Chris Stapleton, where Scott picked the Rolling Stones. And then I picked Dua Lipa at number 2, as Scott picked Paul McCartney. And then our number 1s, mine was Bruno Mars and Billy Joel for number 1 for Scott. But Scott, was there anybody else that kind of was on your notepad but didn't make the list?
Yeah, there were a few. Your stipulations were that they had to be active
Mhm.
and not dead, so that put a damper on some of them.
Yeah.
Another thing that happened that was kind of fun as I was looking things up was finding out that artists had Christmas albums that I wasn't aware of.
Yeah.
Like one of the ones that came to mind was Jack Johnson. I'm like, oh man, he'd make a great Christmas album.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, turns out he did, dummy. And I'm going to have to go back and check that one out. Like, obviously, I knew he had Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. It was on some sort of various artist album at
Yeah.
some point. It might only be an EP, but still, I love his music and I love his voice. So that's one I'm going to have to go check out. I don't know if any others really stick out in my mind. How about you?
I had Metallica down. Metallica's been part of my life since I was a kid. But then the more I got to think of it, it's like, do I really want to hear Metallica do Christmas? And I was like, I don't think I do. So I left them off.
I don't think I do either. I mean, it would be novel,
right,
and interesting, but
and I thought,
do I want James Hetfield playing like "O Come All Ye Faithful"?
Yeah.
Maybe on one of those albums you and I have reviewed before, like Merry Xmas,
right,
something like that. But no, I don't think like Christmas, the Black Album. No, I don't want to hear that.
Yeah. Well,
Megadeth, same thing. I'm okay
see,
without hearing a Megadeth Christmas album.
I thought, Twisted Sister had a Christmas album that's legit good. And I thought, Metallica could pull it off. And I thought, I don't think they can. I think they take themselves too seriously. Whereas guys at Twisted Sister, I don't think they do. I mean, they're serious, but they know what they are.
Same thing as like Guns N' Roses. I don't want to hear a Christmas album by them either.
Yeah. And I also put Chris Isaac down on mine.
He doesn't have a...
He has a Christmas album.
Okay.
So I was like, dadgummit, I didn't know he had one. So it's like, I gotta check that one out now. So it's like,
that's a name I haven't thought of in quite a while.
Yeah. Well, I just like him. He's like, to me, he always sounds like Roy Orbison. I don't know why, but
I like Roy Orbison quite a bit.
Yeah. And I had Waylon Jennings down. He has a Christmas album, but
part of my MO is I like to listen to Christmas albums and kind of, for lack of a better word, audition them on Spotify or Apple Music. And if I really like it, I'll go seek out and legitimately acquire the MP3s. And then I put those, I have a 2017 Sony Walkman. It's an actual MP3 player. It has no internet connectivity whatsoever. But I find that there's something very intentional about the listening experience. You could same thing. I have old iPods that I've restored from, dead ones on eBay. I had a little hobby doing that for a while. It's the same thing. You have to legitimately find the MP3s, of course, kids, don't steal. You have to find the album art, you have to clean up all of the track listings, it's almost a curation process. It's similar to
Yeah.
collecting vinyl, but now I don't have an entire shelf full of things.
Mhm.
And then when I pick that up, I don't have my phone in my hand. I'm not getting notifications from other things that are taking me out of the experience. I have a record player too. You would, kind of turn me on to that, and I have a handful of albums. It's the same kind of thing. It's a very different listening experience than
Yeah.
just firing up a streaming service.
Right.
So when I really like an album, that's what I tend to do is I, kind of collect these MP3s and then have my little digital library. And that way also, when I'm scrolling through, I know that everything I come across is something I like.
Yeah.
And a lot of times I've forgotten about it.
Mhm.
You're not going to forget about a Jolly Christmas from Frank Sinatra, but
Right.
you might forget about a Chris Isaak album or,
Mhm.
something like that. So that's kind of how I do it.
Oh,
Do you do anything similar? I'm not opposed to streaming services. It makes it very, very
Yeah.
easy to check out everything instantly. But there's just a little bit of a downside to that to me.
Yeah, of course, I collect the vinyl, and of course, I collect
Mhm.
just about any Christmas vinyl, no matter how obscure it is. I'm a big playlist guy on
Mm.
streaming services. I'll do that kind of thing on the playlist. Yeah, like I have a playlist just for mowing my grass,
Okay.
that I listen to every time it's full of 90s hip hop, so I'm just the dad out there on my yellow and green lawnmower listening to, Insane and Membrane and,
That's funny, little Cypress Hill.
jump around and stuff like
If I'm
that.
not
Yeah.
listening to podcasts while I mow the lawn, I'm listening to Van Halen's For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge, which is my favorite album of theirs. And I don't know why that's become my lawn mowing
Yeah.
album, but I just love it,
About
especially
the
the
only
live one. I don't love live albums typically, but when you're mowing the lawn, it's not like the ideal listening environment anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. That's really the only time I listen to hip hop is when I mow the grass. For some reason, I find it's great to mow the grass to, but
I'll have to check it out. That's that
Yeah.
would be a fun thing to do. If you and I were neighbors, we could trade iPods or something and
Yeah.
listen
Well,
to each other's music.
Speaking of playlists, I have the Essential Christmas Music
Ooh.
playlist where I have curated, as you would say, all the songs that are essential for Christmas. I've kind of gotten fatigued of explaining my process, so I've narrowed it down to this. I deemed it essential. I took my time.
Because I said so. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. I took my time. I asked several people that I trust their opinions on, and it's based
You
on
even asked
song.
me.
Yep. And
And not to beat a dead horse, but it's a really, really hard process. But you think it's going to be pretty straightforward,
Yeah.
and then you get in the weeds with it, and it's, well, how do I can't pick this one and not pick this one, and oof, it was tough, really tough.
So what I had to do is I have a song, but that song can only be represented by two artists. There was no limit on how many times an artist could be picked. That was not going to fly.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you can't only pick Frank Sinatra twice or Perry Como twice, right?
Yeah.
It's just too hard.
Yeah. So I had to eliminate to two artists, and that made it reasonable. Still hard, but reasonable. And there were a few songs that was.
But the songs themselves like Silent Night can only appear twice on the list, right? That's your rule.
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
And I think that does great for the variety of the playlist. I'm not as worried about hearing the same artist a few times, but I really don't want to hear, Silent Night 15 times on a playlist.
Right. And the order that these songs appear is completely random. This is not a ranking from best to worst. It's a completely random list of songs. So links to the playlist for Apple Music, YouTube Music, and Spotify are below. And the playlist is best listened on shuffle because if you do listen and there's a song with two artists, you will get it back to back. But for this week's list of songs in this entry, this is our 8th entry onto the list. We have the Huron Carol by Sarah McLachlan, Happy Christmas, John Lennon, the Nutcracker Suite, the Brian Seltzer Orchestra, which made me laugh knowing that you were going to be on the show, and they were on here as well.
Well, Dwayne's listening. He's the big Brian Setzer guy.
Yeah. Santa Baby, Eartha Kitt, Little Drummer Boy, the David Bowie and Bing Crosby duet, and Bob Seger's version. All I Want for Christmas is My Two Front Teeth, the Nat King Cole Trio. Joy to the World, Aretha Franklin and the Pentatonics version. Please Come Home for Christmas by the Eagles, and the 12 Days of Christmas, Bing Crosby, and the version by John Denver and the Muppets.
Yeah, John Denver and the Muppets. I love that one. Not because musically it's the best. It just has the most nostalgia and happy memories. Yeah. My mom loved that album, and we played it all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. So anything on this list?
You don't have the Spike Jones version of All I Want for Christmas is My Two Front Teeth, huh?
No. I couldn't quite.
That we did not deem it essential.
Just by the skin of its teeth, if you will.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So
Bob Seger, Little Drummer Boy. That was on Very Special Christmas, right?
Yeah, it was.
Yep,
it was.
Sarah McLachlan. That one's tough for me because all her Christmas music reminds me of ASPCA commercials, and I respect that she's doing something that's important to her, right. But it's kind of tainted her music a little bit for me. That's the downside of it. That Nutcracker Suite by Brian Setzer. Well, how fun is that? That is just so much energy. I love it, and it's also unique. Mm-hmm. There aren't two versions of that one.
Nope, there's not.
Yeah, Happy Christmas. That one's a little bit similar to Wonderful Christmas Time. I could take it or leave it sometimes, but I do want to hear it at least once, and I absolutely will. I mean, I don't think you could walk 25 feet in a store at Christmas time without hearing it. So, the Please Come Home for Christmas, the Eagles one. Boy, that one's just on the verge of getting overplayed, but it is a very good song. Mm-hmm. Same with Christmas Baby, Please Come Home. I don't remember the artist who's really like that is the version of it, but same thing. Like, can't hear this one too much.
Mm-hmm. That's probably the YouTube version that gets played a lot.
Oh yeah, it is. You're right. Yes, yes. And Joy to the World by Aretha Franklin. I'm sure I've heard it. It's not coming to mind, and that's always fun.
Yeah,
that's proof that it isn't overplayed.
Yeah, if you haven't heard it lately, go listen to it. Go listen to her whole album.
I'll have to check that out. I've been recently playing the Ella Fitzgerald Christmas album, and gosh, it's so good. Just so good. And I'm sure Aretha Franklin is probably in that same kind of bucket.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, we're so lucky to have this voice. Even though they're no longer with us, it's wonderful that this existed.
Absolutely. And Eartha Kitt's on here for anybody out there wanting to do a little study on like strong women of history. Check out Eartha Kitt. Most people don't know a lot about her. I don't know a lot about her. I had to do some research for her when I was guesting on a podcast with Christmas Past with Brian Earl. She was a firecracker. And she really made some noise and was a really strong lady in her field that just didn't take the sexism and the crap from the guys of the day, and really inspiring. That's
great. There's a book that I bought on Audible a couple years ago, probably more than a couple at this point. It's called Jingle Bell Pop, and it's about an hour long, or maybe an hour and a half, and it's all about like what makes a Christmas hit, and the music. The business of Christmas music. And they had an interview with a guy who wrote Santa Baby, and they were talking about how it was written for Eartha Kitt, and she was just an absolute sex symbol at the time. Now with modern sensibility, you look back at what is the 50s, and you're like, oh, I don't see what the big deal was, but looking at it with their eyes, it was probably very different. And it was really fun to hear him talk about it. Like, he still speaks of her I think he's still alive. He's probably like 99, but in reverent tones, oh my God, how am I going to write a Christmas song for Eartha Kitt, the sexiest woman in the world? Kind of thing.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny. I need to listen to that. I've heard of that book so many times.
Oh, I really like it. If you can get it for cheap, it's good.
Yeah. I think I might have gotten it, the audio version. I have to look and see. It's one of those things. It's like, I got it. I'm going to listen to this later and then kind of forget. But
There's a great story on there with the guy who wrote that Britney Spears Christmas song, and I can't remember what it is off the top of my head, but he was saying that it's weird to hear your own song in a department store, and his wife was paying for something, and the song started playing, and the cashier was kind of grooving to it, and she's like, "Yeah, my husband wrote this song," and she's like, "Yeah, right, lady," kind of
yeah,
thing.
yeah, yeah. I understand that. Well, I don't understand that, but
Oh, I
I've
was
heard
gonna,
that.
what with all the
Yeah,
songs you've written?
yeah. Of all the songs I've
Okay,
written,
Todd.
I've heard that story before and seen people,
Okay, yeah.
tell that story. Um, Going back to Motown,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I can't think of the guy, Robert. I can't think of his name now, but he wrote the guitar intro for My Girl. And
Oh, yeah.
when he sat down with the guy that wrote the book and filmed the documentary, Standing in the Shadows of Motown, they went out to eat. My Girl came on over the radio, and Robert, the guitarist, went to stop the waiter and tell him that he's the one that wrote the lick to that song, but stopped. And the guy that wrote the book and stuff, he's like, "You were going to tell him you wrote that guitar part?" And he goes, "Yeah, I was, but he wouldn't have believed me."
Yeah.
And so it was just
Is
kind
that
of sad,
documentary you had me watch?
Yeah.
That's the one you
Yeah.
recommended to me, right? Yeah, I
Yes.
watched I don't remember sitting down and watching it, but I know I did, and it was
Yeah.
really good.
I've watched it a lot. It's one of those that I just every couple of years I pop it on, turn it on, and just watch through it. So
Yeah, that's how I
but
feel about, Jingle Bell Rocks. I love that
yeah,
documentary.
that is
I wa
wonderful documentary.
I try to watch it every like, not every maybe every single year, but every other
Mhm.
year. Really fun, and it also reminds me that I'm not the weirdest Christmas music lover in the world, and that's pretty
That's
good.
that's pretty good to know.
Yeah, I had
But
my wife watch it, like, "Look, could be so much worse," and she's like, "Yeah, you're right."
absolutely. Well, Scott, let everybody know where they can get a hold of you or follow you at with your various projects you got.
Well, you could either find me and Dwayne at Tinsel Tunes. You can go to tinseltunes.com, find all of our back episodes on there. I think we're just about at 60. We only do once a month. It's a lot of work for those, but it's also hard to coordinate time with Dwayne being in New Zealand and me being in Denver. It's
Mhm.
there's only like one time in a week that we can make it work between Saturday and Sunday, but it's so much fun. We love going in deep into the history of Christmas songs and carols. We've done some kind of like more offbeat and obscure ones like Miss Fogarty's Christmas Cake and
Mhm.
stuff in the off season, but now, this is our busy time of year, so we'll be doing two carols for November and December. And then I also do Christmas Morning with Bran from Deck the Hallmark, and we're about to go daily on November 1st. After Christmas, we'll go back to our weekly cadence. And that's kind of a Christmas morning show. That's what we envisioned it to be, where we go over TV listings the days until Christmas, tell a bad Christmas joke, have some Christmas news. But then the most fun thing that we do is we have a Christmas music battle, and we pick a song, like for instance, Silent Night, the song we keep talking about today. And what we'll do is I'll look for a version on bandcamp.com, which is an independent artist site, mostly unsigned and independent artists. And Bran will look for a version. And then we'll also take listener submissions and we'll pick one of those. And then we'll play all three songs blind. So you don't know who submitted it. And listeners get to vote on who brought the best version. So there's a little bit of a
Mhm.
bragging rights thing. Bran won the first year, I won the second year, and the listeners just won this year.
Oh,
So
wow.
it's working out great. It's so fun, and we get to learn about all these new artists that you just never hear of. Like for instance, there's an artist named Jose James, and he's on Spotify and Apple Music, but we found him on Bandcamp. As long as it's on Bandcamp, it's fair game.
Mhm.
And he is just absolutely wonderful. He's got a delightful Christmas album, and that one has absolutely made that MP3 player I was talking about.
Really?
He would be up there in a top 10 for me. So Jose James, if you're looking for something good, kind of a little bit crooner-esque, a little soulful,
Mhm.
give it a listen. So much
Oh,
fun.
yeah.
And I would have never found it if a listener hadn't picked a version of it. And um, on the second Wednesday of every month, we have to pick an original Christmas song. That's our rule that we've
Mhm.
come up with, and that's how we found him. He had an original Christmas song, and otherwise it would have just never made my radar. So I'm so thankful and lucky that we do that. And it's going to be our busy season, but we're really looking forward to it. And it's kind of fun. The reason that we started doing it was the Christmas season just seems to go by in a blur, and you blink your eyes and all, one day it's 50 days until Christmas, the next day it's 10. And you're like, where did
Yeah.
the time go?
Yeah.
So it's fun to stop every day and say, hey, 49 days until Christmas. And, we also get to say like, hey, tomorrow is the Rockefeller tree lighting on NBC or something like that.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of fun. And it's been really cool in the summer because, people, it's like we found our tribe. It's all these people that are really missing Christmas. So there's a little bit of a camaraderie there of we're all getting really excited when Walmart and Lowe's and Home Depot start putting out Christmas stuff, and people send me things. So I wouldn't, it's a lot of work, but it's a labor of love. And christmasmorningpodcast.com, you can find that there as well.
All right. Jose James?
Jose James.
All right. I'll have to check that out.
Jose, Jose James. Yeah.
I'll have to check that out. And all the links to Scott's shows are in the show notes in the description. So you just tap away. For those in the chat, just hang tight. We'll be back with you shortly. For those just listening to the podcast, thank you for taking your time to listen to Scott and I here on Christmas Clatter, talk about these artists, and hopefully maybe one or all of them release a Christmas album soon. And
if we're lucky.
Yeah. If your schedule ever permits it, we'd love to see you live on YouTube at 8 p.m. Central Time on Wednesday nights. We'll be weekly through Christmas, and love to have you join us in the chat if possible, to be a part of the best Christmas community on YouTube. I just claiming that title. There might be some that are better, but I'm claiming it.
Do you have a name for all the people, the clatterers?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
We get to call them Christmas morning people.
Yeah.
For our show, and that one worked out pretty well. Another listener suggestion on that one. We got lucky.
Yeah, I never did a name for. If you guys got a name for Christmas Clatter fans, let me know.
The Clatterati. Okay.
Yeah, the Clatterati or something. If you guys got a name to name yourselves, go ahead and let me know. We'll work on that, because I know Brian calls everybody sugar plums.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. When did his shows start? It's got to be soon, right?
Yeah, it's gonna be. Usually,
I don't know. It's in my feed. It'll just drop at some point, and it's like, hey, surprise! Here it is.
Yeah, I'm sure he's eyeball deep into doing it right now. But
yeah, it's true.
Yeah, but one of the great things about joining us in the live chat is once the podcast is over, we'll stick around a few more minutes and talk with you guys, answer any questions, and and see how there's been some interesting things happen after the podcast was off the air, so
just get a little blue.
Yeah, so, but guys, thanks so much for listening to me here on Christmas Clatter, and until I see you guys again, remember, keep Christmas hope alive every day. All right, we're back. That'd be the end. Bearded Beanie, hey man, thanks for hopping in here. Really appreciate you coming in here. I like that. I like that profile picture with all those pumpkins and that jack-o'-lantern in the back. I watched a YouTube video of this guy that went through 13 different levels of pumpkin carving, all the way from basic jack-o'-lantern to adding robotics to your 3D sculpted pumpkins. It's
this year I bought stencils for they're like pre-shaped things. You put them onto the pumpkin, you hit them in with a hammer, and it cuts it out. I always approach pumpkin carving with these really lofty ideas, and then the reality sets in, and it's never that good. So I just want a good finished product.
Yeah, my oldest boy is not an artist by any means, and so his pumpkins always were, wonky, but they were always
unique to him. Sure.
They were always the scariest looking pumpkins when you put the candle in them, because their eyes were different shapes, and it was always a zombie looking. And he was just I think one year he carved his pumpkin with a sawzall, just to get through it faster.
Yeah, I've tried it with a Dremel. Boy, does that make a mess in the kitchen.
Yeah. So Ken is suggesting the Clatter Clan. I appreciate it, but I think I need to avoid any word with the clan.
Yeah, with the clan has a little bit of a connotation. Yeah. I want to stay with him a little bit.
Yeah. So, Dwayne says he tried the names with Tinsel Tune started, but nothing really stuck. Yeah.
The tuners.
Yeah.
Tinsel tuners.
So, Yeah, I don't know. I've thought about the name thing before, but it just never occurred to me to you know, do
It's
anything
kind of
with
one
it.
of it's like a nickname, you know, like, it's better if
Yeah,
it's organic and it just kinda happens versus going out and seeking it, so if it
yeah,
hasn't happened by now, probably better just leave it. Didn't mean to
yeah.
put you on the spot there. See, I
Oh
hate
yeah.
being live.
Oh,
I'm afraid I'm gonna develop some sort of verbal Tourette's or something when I'm live and there's no takesies backsies, and
oh
I
no.
just don't like it.
No, you're fine. I mean,
Yeah.
I do stuff all the time that it's like, hey, I'm gonna do this, guys, and then crickets, you know.
Yeah,
So it's
I'm sure, I'm sure once you get used to being live, it's pretty easy, but I did my first live show in July, for Bramblefest
uh
for the Deck the Hallmark Network, and boy, I did not care for that.
yeah. Well, that was live with people actually sitting there too, right?
Yeah, exactly, there were a couple
Uh-huh.
hundred people in the room, and it's not a stage fright thing, it's just I
Yeah.
don't like being unscripted, I like being able to go back and edit it and make it perfect after the fact, and you can't
Uh-huh.
do that, and, the funny thing is, like, I won't go back and listen to this episode because I don't get the chance to edit myself at all, and I don't mind hearing my own voice, that's not the problem, it's just, I don't know, I have no control over it, so it's just stay away from it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's
When
been
I've
fun. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I've enjoyed it. I used to go back and listen to Christmas Clatter episodes and just to, try to get better and stuff.
Mhm.
And but I haven't in a long time just because it's like, oh, that episode's done, so I'm
Yeah.
done, and
Well, I go back and I'll edit it, and then I'll listen to it in its entirety to make sure that I didn't screw up anything during editing. Because then once in a while, it just happens. There'll be a 2-second dead spot or something. But after that, no, I don't need to listen to it
yeah,
again.
yeah. Ben says they were looking at Pepper Tree Villa in Villagers. It just happened. So
Mm,
that's a good name.
yep, that is
Ben
good.
Ben and his uh, family they do a weekly live stream on Mondays. Pepper Tree uh, Villa, and they're big Christmas fanatics as well. Um, his they're putting up like 33 trees and stuff like that.
Whoa!
So yeah,
In one house?
yeah. So
Wow.
yeah, but they're big into all the holidays. It's not Christmas specific. They'll do arts and crafts and taste different foods and do a quick Hallmark review and all kinds of. It's cool. It's like a retro variety show kind of thing. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Becoming diabetic in the last 5 years has, put a little damper on the Christmas food stuff. I get a
Oh
little less excited about it. You it's it is what it is. I can't change it, and I'm lucky it's not something that's, more severe or even that hard to deal with, so it doesn't really get me down, but every once in a while, especially we walked through, do you have a World Market where you are?
not locally. There's some
But
in
you
St.
have you
Louis.
been
Yeah.
and,
Mhm.
like, they just have aisles and aisles of all these international candies, and there were mince
Mhm.
pies and all these things. I was just a little bit bummed, just a little tiny bit, like, "Oh, man,
Oh
that would be
man,
nice."
I'm gonna have to give me some more mince pies this year. Those things
Yeah,
are
mince
good.
pies are great. That needs to really catch on around here.
Yeah,
I don't know what the holdup is.
I don't either. I don't either. Those are really really good.
Yeah.
So, figgy pudding was okay. I mean, it wasn't.
Jack sent me a pudding, and, I forgot to eat it, and I just recently found it in the kitchen, like, behind the toaster, and I was like, "Oh, I should have eaten this," and he said, "It's a real acquired taste, you may not like it," and I meant to report back, so,
Yeah,
I don't know. It probably hasn't gone that bad, so maybe
yeah,
I'll open it up and check it out, but I don't have high expectations for it.
yeah. Jack's
It's
go.
it's got a weird
Yeah,
color,
yeah,
there's a picture, on the label of it, and it doesn't look like something I would eat. It kinda
yeah,
looks like something a baby would give up.
yeah. Jack's gonna be on Christmas Clatter next month.
Oh, cool. We
So
just had him on Tinsel Tunes. That's what we,
yeah,
just last week, and it was so much fun.
yeah. He's a good guy. Yeah. In fact, it'd be the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, and we're gonna do it at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. So that way, in the UK and parts of
Yeah, it's like
Europe,
9 PM his time or something,
yeah, 8 or
maybe
9. So
8 PM,
yeah, 8 or
maybe even
9.
7, I don't math is hard, I don't know.
Yeah, because I have several people, in the UK and Ireland and
Oh, that's
Germany and
cool.
stuff that listen, because they can't really be here live too much because of the time difference is too much.
Yeah.
But so I kind of wanted to do one where they could actually, be there
That's
if
The
possible.
Wednesday right before Thanksgiving?
Yes.
Alright,
So
I'll crash the chat and make a hubbub.
yeah. And I actually got the week of Thanksgiving off work this year for the first time
Mm,
in forever. So
Wow.
it worked out good.
Tenure has its privileges, huh?
Yeah, it's getting there.
Yeah.
But yeah. Oh, Ben says they'll be going to do a Taste of World Market episode
That
later next
sounds
month.
so cool.
Yeah, they get together
Oh,
and
man.
try a bunch of that
You'll have to
stuff.
taste the glug or whatever
Yeah.
whatever it is. I don't know. It's in a bottle. I don't know what it is, but
Yeah.
it looked interesting. You'll
Dwayne
have to
said
do
it-
the taste of IKEA at some point too. There's a lot of weird flavors there that I'm not familiar with.
Christmas meatballs.
I'm okay with the meatballs. It's all of the packaged stuff that's not really written in English, and everything is lingonberry. And I don't know. It's okay. It's not really a jelly I grew up with.
Yeah. Dwayne said that'd be 8 a.m. for him there.
So, oh, there you go, Dwayne. You'll be up.
Yep, he'll be up. Him probably starting work, but just calling sick that day.
Yeah,
Dwayne.
come on, man.
It's before American Thanksgiving. Don't you guys take off
you should get American Thanksgiving off just cause.
Yeah, just because our pilgrims and our Indians ate a big feast.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. We did horrible things, and we want the world to know it. What?
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. Well, American Thanksgiving features cranberry heavily, and that's not one of my preferred flavors.
Oh man. Well,
it's just nice. Well, it's been nice seeing you. Won't be invited back.
Have a good life.
I used to make my own cranberry dressing, from scratch. And then I just realized I don't really care for this that much, and it's a ton of work. Like, I'd rather just, at this point, just for everybody else, I'll open up the can and, it pops out, and there it is. Enjoy.
Yeah. We have the cranberry can, and we also have a homemade cranberry sauce.
Mm-hmm.
And I eat both because they're so different. They're not the same thing, so I eat both. And then my mom makes this cranberry pear cobbler
okay, now that sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
It's cranberry on its own, like on its own two legs that doesn't really do it for me because it's so tart and I just don't love the flavor. But I don't know, you're sounding pretty. I'll be there this year for the pear.
Now I'm thinking about it. I think the cranberry pear cobbler might be no sugar added.
Oh, okay.
I'll check with her because my dad's
probably
diabetic.
Has a bunch of sugar on its own, but
with the pears, yes, but I don't think there's anything else because my dad's diabetic too, and I know she makes some desserts that are either no sugar added or sugar free. And if
I really should just make the cranberry dressing again and use artificial sugar for me because there aren't that many things I can eat anymore. And that one, cranberries don't have a ton of sugar, at least not, once they dry and dehydrate, the sugar gets kind of concentrated. But I could probably enjoy it. And, it's funny. A lot of things that I would have turned my nose up years ago, now they're okay. Like, I mean, a lot more broccoli than I ever used to. So maybe it's time to give cranberry a revisit.
Yeah, maybe so. If you ever make it this way for Cookie Day, we have a whole selection of sugar-free cookies too.
Yeah, sugar-free cookies, they still tend to hit my sugar pretty hard, but I'll make you know what I'll do? I'll have you drop me off about 5 miles from your house in the car and with a handful of cookies. And, I'll just have to make it back. And, and that's how it'll work. It'll be fine.
Yeah. She makes these strawberry angel food cookies that are sugar-free, Mexican wedding cookies. Of course, a sugar-free chocolate chip. There's some others I can't remember now, but usually about 6 or 8 sugar-free ones. So
at Bramblefest this year, people brought in tons of cookies and all these other treats and stuff. And one of them was a cheese biscuit. But it wasn't a biscuit like a fluffy Cracker Barrel kind of thing. It was like a little hard round, shaped like a little cookie. And it was kind of pressed flat with a fork, but it had cayenne pepper in it and stuff too. I swear, when I opened up the package, it smelled like dog food, like dog treats. And I was like, uh-oh. And I'm right in front of the woman who made these, but then I tasted it and it was sublime.
Oh, wow.
So that's a pretty good one for me.
Yeah. Dwayne says he feels like he's got so many American friends. He feels like an honorary American now. So he thinks
I had a dream that Dwayne came to visit.
Yeah.
And I didn't check the dream journal to see what that means, but you're always welcome here, Dwayne.
Christmas aficionado says his mom makes a cranberry jello mold.
I would eat that.
Yeah, that sounds good. So, yeah. And Ken likes cranberries. We eat all have ridges. So, yeah. Ken likes his cranberries like he likes his ruffles with ridges. So,
With the ridges, yeah.
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 Cranberries. Cranberries are special. We need to start a GoFundMe to get Dwayne to the States.
Yeah, no kidding. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll just start putting ads for something in Tinsel tunes. Get them over here.
Yeah.
We'll do the whole American thing. We'll do a road trip to St. Louis. It'll be great.
Yeah. We can fly him in someplace central where we all can kind of drive to reasonably.
Yeah, that's true. Kansas. Yeah. We'll just drop
Yeah,
him off in Kansas. Yeah.
We do want him to be impressed with the United States.
That's true. That's true. Very few people voluntarily go to Kansas. So, yeah, maybe that's not the best.
So, I'm only 12 hours from Denver. So,
Okay.
I've drove there before. I can do it again,
Well, we would have one heck of a live podcast, wouldn't we?
Oh, man. Yeah. Chicago
that'd be great.
Well, Chicago's further for you and the guys on the West. We'll just have to get enough money to where he can make a road trip across the country. He can start in the Bay Area and see Tim and Brian, and then cut through Colorado, spend time with you.
We need to do it in the summer. We'll get him, we'll rent him a convertible with like the horns on the front, push him down Route 66. He can do the whole American tour.
Tag down to Dallas to see Jerry, then up to Oklahoma to see Tom and Julia, come across here, visit with me, hit Nashville to visit with Ken, and then hit South Carolina to hit the boys there, and then
that'd be cool.
Then he can run down and hit Mike in Florida, then turn around and go back up to New York City and see Anthony and Chris and cross into Canada to see Glenn at Seasons Eatings and fly home. All right, Dwayne.
Start packing, buddy.
That's a lot of driving.
Hey, Dwayne, before not Dwayne, sorry, that was Dwayne on my mind. Todd, before I forget, are you going to tune into any of the Hallmark premieres this coming weekend?
Probably not live. I'll probably.
Yeah, I don't really do it live either. Although sometimes I'll just turn the channel on and mute it. It's more like just wallpaper at that point. Walk through the room, you look up at the screen. There's some Christmas on there. That's kind of fun. But there are a couple of movies that actually I might watch. I'm not big on the Hallmark kind of thing. It doesn't really do it for me. But there's a Groundhog Day Hanukkah movie that sounds pretty funny that I want to check out. Like they got to keep doing it right, and so they keep waking up and it's over and over. So I want to see that. And there's one about the that Santa Claus bar crawl that they do in New York City. There's a movie that themes that, and I'd like to see that one as well.
Yeah. Usually I just watch them. Like if I come in from work, my wife would be in the middle of one, and so I'll finish it up. It takes me a few minutes to get caught up with what's going on, but I usually do. But,
usually when my wife suggests it, I kind of like turn my nose up at it, and then I end up kind of just, I don't know. I come through the room and then I start getting sucked in just a little bit, and I'll watch 4 or 5 probably through the holiday season, but I don't sit down and like make an appointment viewing or anything.
Yeah. I don't know how many whole ones I get in, but I'll see several tens of hours, dozens of hours worth of them, because a lot of times, it's just on just to be on, I watched the first Hallmark movie from start to end for the first time, and I couldn't remember the other day. It was the 2 beds, 1 bath, 1 ghost, or whatever that was.
Oh, I heard about that one. Yeah, I heard it was kind of funny. It
was pretty good. We enjoyed it quite a bit. It was pretty good. It was some are better than others, but we really enjoyed it.
The new leadership at Hallmark is doing a better job of diversity and making it a whole lot less of, white people problem Christmas. So it's fun to see better representation, and I like that quite a bit.
Well, I like that, and I think the GAC just
I won't watch them, based on my own principles, but that's just me.
Yeah, I just think the competition part of having them there.
Yeah.
it's like, all right, let's step it up, get better scripts and better writing, and, not that, not that much has changed, but just get the dialogue a little bit better.
There's an Eddie Murphy Christmas movie coming out on Amazon Prime on December 1st that I'm looking forward to. And all I know is like his Christmas decorations are cursed and they come to life. That's all I know about it. Brian read it as a news segment, but it sounded really funny, and I want to check that out.
Yeah, I want to check that. I think The Rock has one coming out too.
Does he?
Something like that. But he plays he plays The Rock as some kind of leader elf or something.
Okay.
I don't even remember.
Oh, that sounds kind of funny.
It's basically like the Tooth Fairy Christmas version or something. I don't even know.
Yeah, I don't need to see him in like the Fast and the Furious stuff, but in the movies where it's a little tongue in cheek, almost he's like a caricature of himself. I find that pretty funny. He seems like a pretty cool dude.
Yeah. It's just something fun to do. But Scott, I'll let you off here. I want to thank everybody.
All right, buddy.
Yeah, I'd like to thank everybody in the chat. Thanks for rolling through and hanging out with us. And Dwayne, he said he had such a big smile on his face thinking about doing that road trip. And Ben's pledged $35,000 to it. So
yeah, I took that to mean he pledged, right? That's how this is like the drive on public radio.
Well, I heard last year that pledge and donate mean the same thing. So
that's right. That's great. Well, thanks for having me on. It was a lot of fun. Thanks to all the Clatter clan out there. It was. I've never done it before where I've had the live chat. That was really fun. Please have me back at some point. I would love to do it. Okay.
I will definitely have you back because there's always music to talk about.
There's always more music. Yeah. Maybe we'll have to do a wrap up after the of all the stuff that came out this year.
Yeah, that would be good. That would be good. I've always wanted to try to keep up with what's coming up, but it's dadgum hard to find.
Yep.
It
really is. Yeah. I always have good intentions, and then it just, I don't know. Then, all of a sudden it's February. I'm like, crap. I forgot.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. So guys in the chat, thank you for joining me here. And thanks for joining Scott as well. And until we see you guys next week, keep Christmas hope alive every day.